Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar with businessadvising.org, a program of Pacific Community Ventures. My name is Ellie Raber. Thank you for joining us today. I want to let you know we are recording. We're going to post this online for everyone to see later. You are muted for now. If you have questions in the Q&A button on your dashboard, feel free to ask any questions as we go. And you can raise your hand as well. I believe there's that functionality too. So if this turns into a dialogue, that'd be fantastic. A little bit about us. Businessadvising.org, as I said, is a program of Pacific Community Ventures. We're a small business growth accelerator pairing small business owners who are looking to grow their businesses with mentors and advisors. We also have a loan program based in California for businesses 10,000 up to 200,000 in possible loans. So if you're interested, let us know about that too. So about today's speaker, Joe Alexander. Joe is the founder of Nest Bedding, one of the leading mattress and bedding brands. His beds can be found in the homes of some of the top athletes and celebrities and lauded in publications such as the Huffington Post, Men's Fitness, and Refinery 29. In 2012, he bootstrapped Nest Bedding and grew it into a $20 million a year force in the mattress and bedding industry. He's the author of the book Retail Relationships, and Joe credits Nest Bedding's meteoric rise to legendary customer service and holding his company to an incredibly high standard of customer satisfaction. You can find him in one of his many stores in New York, San Francisco, LA, or online at nestbedding.com. And he's also one of our favorite mentors here at Business Advising, mentoring several businesses. Always gets fantastic ratings. Everyone loves working with Joe. And we're very happy that he's taken the time out of his very busy schedule to do this with us today. So without further ado, Joe, I'm going to mute myself, stop my video, and pass you over.
Great. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? I guess I can't hear anyone, right? So I'm just talking. No one. I don't know if anybody hears me. Can everybody hear me, Ellie?
Yeah, you're good, Joe. Everyone hears you.
Okay, great. All right. So hi, everyone. My name is, as Ellie gave me a very glowing introduction there, my name is Joe Alexander. I'm the CEO and founder of Nest Bedding. It's a business that I started 4 years ago, physically 5 years ago in my head. And just by virtue of what we're going to talk about today, I should start from the beginning. I know a lot of you come to businessadvising.org because you're looking for help, you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for answers to questions you may not know the answer to. And it's always great to follow in the footsteps of somebody who's done it before. And so about 5 years ago, I was working as a general manager for another mattress company, and I've had several years working in retail and wholesale. And one afternoon, it kind of came to me that I realized that most of the people I was working for, I was smarter than, and not smarter in general, but just in that particular niche of business. It seemed like I knew more about what I was doing than they were. And I realized at that point, had I just had a little bit of seed money, a little bit of a step up, I could do this myself. And so one summer afternoon, sitting at my desk, daydreaming, I came up with the concept of Nest Bedding. I kind of realized in my mind that I wanted to do something. I wanted to take advantage of a niche that I saw in the industry, and that is that people were looking for more healthy alternatives for their home. With the rise of Whole Foods, for example, people were wanting an alternative to marketing in plastic and chemicals, and the same was happening in the bedding industry, in the mattress industry. So I came up with the concept of when a bird needs a bed, it doesn't fly to China, it doesn't go to petroleum companies, it just flies around the general vicinity and finds natural items and builds its little safe nest. And that's kind of how I came up with the Nest Bedding and the two little lovebirds that you see there in the logo. Ellie, I don't have control of my frames. If you want to advance for me. Does that video run? Or is it just a screen?
I think it's just a screen.
Okay. That's fine, you can advance past that. Okay, well, it will go? That's fine. All right, so 4 years ago, the company I was working for came to me one afternoon and said, hey, we're letting you go. Out of the blue, no warning. They basically fired me exactly the way I had trained them to fire people. They said, we no longer need your services. So like anyone else who needed a job and needed to make a living, and my first immediate thought was hearing that was that I need to find another job. But the silver lining was they opened their mouth again and said, but we want you to be well taken care of, and so we're going to give you a $50,000 severance check if you sign some documents. And we're going to send you those documents in the mail a few days from now. Once you receive them, look them over. If you feel comfortable signing them, we'll send you a $50,000 severance check. And what they sent me a few days later was a non-compete clause, which, if you've done any kind of research on non-compete clauses, they are unenforceable. They're basically worthless in California. So I was being asked to sign a blank piece of paper in exchange for $50,000, which of course I did. And 45 days from the day they let me go, Ellie, you can flip the screen, please. Not doing anything. Oh. Not doing anything for me, unfortunately, here. 45 days from the day they let me go to the day that you see that little store right there, 900 square foot store. I climbed up on a ladder and I painted the word Nest on the top window, and I bolted some branches to the top there. I got some decals online and put my name on the window and opened the doors with the money that they gave me. And then 3 months later, I opened up another store off the profits from that store, and so on. So we're actually projected to do about 25 million this year. You know, I had to take a chance. I had to take a gamble. It was I either go find another job or I rolled the dice. I had to live on that money and open a store. But the first thing I realized that, you know, I had a good name, I had a good concept, and I had a very good idea of what the business climate was like. I needed to find product. I needed to find product that fit in with philosophy of more natural. And I had to get the word out, which is obviously kind of expensive. But if you do it right, nowadays with the internet, anybody can get their word out. And social media obviously is one of the biggest ways to do that. First thing I did was identify some products online that weren't being marketed in retail stores. And I leveraged the relationship that I had, basically in knowledge of business. I reached out to one of the major online manufacturers that didn't have any stores, and I basically told them, look, I'll help you build a retail network if you let me be your first retailer. And right off the bat, I had a stream of people in the store looking for a product that no one else had, and that really fueled a lot of my initial success. That store is in Albany, California, which is right next door to Berkeley. And 3 months later, the proceeds of that store, I opened up a store directly next door to them in San Francisco. Needless to say, they were not happy that I opened up next door. A month later, they closed that store and moved away. Oh, there we go. And now you can see that first store has morphed into now 8 stores. We're opening in Chicago next month. That's our store in Santa Monica on Montana Avenue, which is a very ritzy shopping area. I didn't climb up and install that sign myself. And as you can see, the store is a lot more modern. There's our New York store in Soho, which is one of the most expensive retail markets in the country. And so again, you can see that we've come a long way in just a short amount of time. Huffington Post, Washington Post, Men's Journal, Men's Fitness Magazine, Refinery 29, Women's Daily doing an article on this coming up next month. Here was an article in the Huffington Post that listed some of the hottest startups in the industry. We were listed in there. We've been able to leverage our relationships with social media, and that's kind of where, you know, again, with only 50 grand to start the business, I had to lease a space, decorate it, buy stock, advertise, and actually pay my bills, personal bills and everything, live off of that. So I was working 7 days a week for about 4 months straight without a single day off, every single day in that little 900 square foot store. But what I did all day long was make noise. I went on Facebook, I went on Craigslist, I went on Twitter, I went on Pinterest, every social media thing I could do. I Googled every day. I Googled mattresses every day. I went and put comments and linked to my site. I started sending people mattresses. This is Aisha Curry right here. She happens to be married to probably the most popular athlete in the world right now, Steph Curry. Needless to say, that was a nice little shout out on social media. She has several 100,000 followers. Her husband has several million followers. I think the next is our Facebook page. No. All right. So same thing with Facebook. We've got over like 180,000 likes on Facebook now. I blogged every single day like a madman. Put content out there. You know, just good old-fashioned ditch digging, hard work. So once people came to my store, that was really where the magic happened, and where I really credit a lot of our success, and where I want to kind of focus today also is really building a standard for yourself and how you're going to set yourself apart from other retailers. Unless you create or invent some kind of unique product that the world has never seen before, you're selling something everybody else is selling, whether it's a service or a product. You're selling some variation of something someone else can get somewhere else. And so there's one factor, there's one thing that you can sell that no one else sells, and that's you. And so I knew that I had a level of enthusiasm, I had a unique set of skills, I had a unique perspective and experience in the industry. And so I had to find a way to translate that into product and into the story and into what we're selling. And so basically at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. And so you need to set an expectation for yourself and set a level for yourself. And so the number one thing I did is I set a standard and I put it out there, and I told people what they can expect from my company. And so I started telling people that they can expect a standard of legendary customer service. What that means to me is when somebody writes into my company, they get an immediate response, whether it's from me or my staff. We address their issues. If somebody's not happy, at the end of the day, I just give you their money back. I'd rather give someone their money back than to financially motivate them to be angry at me and do the same thing I did to grow, and that is get out there and make a lot of noise, which in today's market, obviously, with Yelp and Facebook and Twitter and everything, somebody can very quickly deter other people from buying from your business. There's our Facebook. So it doesn't show on there how many, but like I said, we're up to about 180,000 likes now. Twitter, same thing. We're actually around 29,000 followers now. As you can see, almost all of our Yelp pages are either 5 stars or right at 5.5 stars. And as most of you know, as business owners, or you soon will find out, you'll have a very love-hate relationship with Yelp. Most people like to take their gripes out on Yelp as opposed to go and put good feedback on Yelp. So we can talk about that too. If someone has specific questions about Yelp, I'm kind of a mini expert on Yelp. I will personally go and make comments on reviews and interact with people using those chat features. So basically what I did was I took an idea and I went out and I did something with it and took a chance. You don't necessarily succeed every time, obviously. I didn't know about businessadvising.org. I didn't have help. I was very, very fortunate that I had a lot of experience. Let's see if I can use this here. I basically wrote a book outlining what I've done and how to do it on a retail level. Obviously, retail is one of the oldest professions out there. Even though online has emerged as a channel, it will never replace retail. That human interaction that you have with customers gives you a distinct advantage over online, and you can marry the two channels fairly easily. If you do have a retail store, you need to have an online presence. You need to be able to, if possible, sell your products online. Ellie, is there anything question-wise specific that anybody has at this point?
Yeah, so that's a great time for Q&A. So I'm gonna unmute everybody, and if you have a question for Joe, jump right in. I'm gonna lead it off if everyone doesn't mind. And I have one. There I am. Hey everybody. I have one which is, okay, so you had some capital to get started. How did you know that was going to be enough to do what you needed to do to grow and build a business and live off?
I didn't, Ellie. I didn't. It was a like that Indiana Jones where he stepped out into the abyss, the invisible bridge. I mean, it really was. I mean, I had a couple of job offers from some major companies that I was entertaining while I was in that 45-day period.
Right.
Because, I mean, it was iffy. It's scary. It's scary stepping off into, failure is scary. The potential of not having enough money to pay your bills is scary. But, nobody ever hits a home run sitting on the bench. And I really felt confident enough in myself. And I figured the worst case scenario is I'd fail and go get a job.
Right. Right. Anyone want to jump in? I've got a list of questions I want to ask Joe, but does anyone want to chime in and ask him one? You can put in the Q&A section, or you can just speak up. All right. So the next one I see one come in on the Q&A. So you talk about it's about your customer service, legendary customer service. Can you go into that a little bit more? Sort of that. It sounds like you're differentiated, and I'm sort of riffing on this question now, but it sounds like your point of differentiation is, people can go online and buy something, then go in a store and test it out, but, there's something about the nest bedding customer experience that seems to be a point of differentiation.
Right. Well, one of the things I pride myself on is, my book is called Retail Relationships. And a lot of companies, they'll start up and they'll teach their sales staff how to work the cash register or the POS system, and they'll teach them about the products, about what they do, and then they'll say, go sell.
Yeah.
And, there's a difference between just putting a product out there and building a relationship with your customer, obviously. And that's really where I've really focused the difference of our company is when somebody walks in the door, instead of the typical, hi, how can I help you? What we want to do is we want to make a friend with that person. We want to recognize that they're a human being and not just a customer. And I equate it in my book to kind of when you're in traffic and the lanes are narrowing down, somebody's trying to squeeze in front of you. You're pushing, you're not letting them in. Then you make the mistake of looking over and making eye contact with the person. And you got to let them in at that point because you've humanized the situation. And a lot of times when you're the customer and the other person's the salesperson, you're seeing each other in those roles. It's easy to kind of keep a distance and kind of keep your defenses up. But when you get them to see you as a human being and you recognize them as a human being and you address them as a human being, now they let their guard down. And we do that when they walk in the store. If we simply walk up, shake their hand, and introduce ourselves. We welcome them to the store and we introduce ourselves. We get their name and we use their name. And we start asking questions that are leading them. And that really humanizes the situation. Once people start talking to you and seeing you as a human being, interacting on a personal level, much harder to say no.
Right.
And they're much more receptive to trusting you and believing you and buying from you.
Yeah, that's spot on. Right. Treat
Somebody
them as
looks like somebody else.
a wallet. So yeah, a question came in that says, other than limited startup money, what was your single biggest challenge after opening your first store?
You know, finding a way to market the store. You know, obviously I had 50 grand after I paid for a lease and a deposit on the store, decorating it, furnishing it, filling it full of product, buying a POS, buying all the equipment necessary, and opening the door. There wasn't a lot of money left. I had to pay my rent, I had to pay my car payment, I had to eat, which honestly I lost about 15 pounds in that first few months. I was eating pretty paltry. The biggest challenge was getting the word out in a way that didn't cost a lot of money. And that's really where the hard work came in. Sitting there, getting on Google every day and looking for opportunities to kind of just start getting the name out there, not on a national level, but just kind of on a regional level. I didn't want to try to bite off more than I could chew. There was already enough noise out there on a national level, but I could make inroads on my local community, Berkeley, San Francisco, whether it would be making comments on blog posts of other companies, whether it was news stories, posting on Twitter, joining forums, engaging people. And so that was probably the biggest challenge, was trying to find ways to get the name out there. Also getting ranked on Google. Right. You know, people type in mattress Berkeley or mattress San Francisco, you're 15 pages back on the organic search. Right. You're going to get, you know, you're not going to get a lot of business. And I couldn't afford to start throwing thousands of dollars a day into Google AdWords either. So, you know, again, that's where the great customer service came in. People started putting reviews on Yelp. That helps. You know, Yelp sees a business start getting traction, they move you up in their rankings. Oh. And then blogging every day. I blogged my knowledge of working in the business for 15 years. I blogged every day, and I blogged about things like, what do I do if my bed sleeps hot? Why is there moisture under my bed? What's the proper support? Things that people would just in general be typing. And very quickly, because there weren't a lot of articles out there specifically on these things, those articles on my blog got picked up by Google and ranked pretty high quickly, bringing a lot of traffic to the site. That brought up our organic search. So again, just good old-fashioned hard work and start getting the name out there. That was the second biggest challenge.
Okay, so the next question comes in, and it's kind of about scaling your business. So I'll let you take a sip of water. So you've got the store in Albany, and that's going well, right? You're humming along. Okay, this is a viable business. I can now make a living on this. I can now, support my lifestyle, my family. Like, okay, and then, at some point, Joe, you said one store is not enough. I want the world. I now have a plan to open LA, New York, right? You're going to Chicago. You also have an online presence. And you were, and we're not talking about a lot of time, right? 2012. So I'm guessing it took till 2013 for that first store to really come together and coalesce. And then, in the next few years, you really grew. So how did you go from one store and that sort of humming to boom, which is, I feel like, $25 million business in 4 years? That's nothing to sneeze at.
Right. Well, again, once I got into the market, once I got that second store up, the business model that was out there of my competitors was, mostly shipping online. And it took about into that second year to find distribution, find a manufacturer who would work with me to build my ideas, that would do it in a way that I could ship throughout the country, that would also take care of all the logistics of building it, shipping it, basically, or I could just take an email, send it to them and say, hey, send this mattress to my customer in Massachusetts. And so when I found that relationship into my second year, that really now put me on the map. That gave me product that was at a reasonable price that I can compete with the majors. And then once I once I made those products, I identified 2 or 3 of the top review sites, and I sent them the mattresses. And because of my expertise, I was able to build something that looked good and feel real good, and it was affordable and be very competitive. And I found a lot of favor with those reviewers because of my story, small startup guy, little guy makes good.
Yeah.
And the product looked and felt great. They put me at the top of their reviews, which overnight, all of a sudden I was doing like $2,000 a month online. All of a sudden I was doing $100 a month online, $100,000 a month online, and then $1 million a month online overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, it really exploded from that point. Of course, then that just fueled everything. It gave me the finances to be able to just start opening stores like crazy.
Wow. And what a smart idea, right? Send it to the reviewers and let them do the advertising for you. That's great. Okay,
Right.
Here's another question that someone emailed in. How do you balance the demands of social media advertising with operating and functioning with actual business? Are you still the person who's leading the charge for all of your social media strategy?
You know, there's going to be crossroads in your business development to where you are juggling way too much. And then that's when you have to relinquish control and hire people. And there have been several crossroads where I just physically was doing too much, and it's like, I gotta get help. I still, up until just 2 weeks ago, was still answering a lot of customer service emails, which isn't the most expeditious use of my time. And that's one of the things I do in my business advisory is I tell people, don't do $25 an hour jobs.
Right.
If you're doing $25 an hour work, you're doing a disservice to your company because you're worth potentially millions. Hire somebody else to do that. Now, that sounds great, but you can't do that obviously until the money's there to support that. But the philosophy is, when you can, train people to do that for you. It's the Huck Finn business model. Go get people and find out what motivates them and put them to work for you and let you focus on the more important tasks of growing the business, watching what the trends are doing. Are you still the person? I'm still the Twitter guy. And the reason why I do that and will probably always keep some finger in that is because I want to know what's going on. The minute you, as a CEO or the head of your business, divest yourself of what's going on with your customers, what's going on with your industry, you lose momentum. You miss out on trends. You might miss the fact that people are not liking your product that you think is the greatest thing in the world. So yeah, you basically, as the business grows, you have to get really good at identifying talent, training them, and relinquishing control. And that's a hard thing for us business owners, is relinquishing control. It's tough, but you can't grow unless you can do that. Fantastic.
Well, Joe, thank you very much for your time today. This was a wonderful webinar. I learned a lot. Your success story is very inspiring. And to everyone listening to the webinar, you can work with Joe at businessadvising.org, or people like Joe at businessadvising.org. And he's here to support you. And, he's here to, and mentors like him to help you grow your business with the lessons that he's learned, sometimes the hard way, so you don't have to, and to help you out. So Joe, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
And everyone have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.